Today, we're talking about the timeless lessons from one of my favorite books, The Richest Man in Babylon, and how these lessons apply to successful OFWs. My name is Adore. I'm an OFW for almost 20 years. The Philippines have been sending OFWs worldwide for decades. And currently, there are about 2.1 million Filipinos working abroad. And this goes back to the 1960s when the US government began recruiting to work in jobs in construction. And in the 1970s, this has gained momentum under President Marcos Sr. when he wanted to stimulate the economy through immigration. Moving forward 2024, OFW remittances in the Philippines hit record of $38.34 billion. These remittances represented 8.3% of the country's GDP or 7.4% of gross national income, highlighting OFW's remittances as a key economic driver for the country. And lately, I've been reading a lot about OFW success stories featured online, which inspired me to make this video. But then it also made me wonder why some OFWs make it. They go on to become rich and wealthy, but others go home broke. Some even return abroad after years and years of working. I noted that what was common in these success stories, in which I also think the answer to my question, lies in the ancient financial wisdom these successful OFWs have learned to apply and become wealthy and rich. The Richest Man in Babylon is the oldest book written in personal finance, written by George Clason in 1926, and it may be a century-year-old book. The same fundamental principles of money are still applied today. So let's dive into these lessons without wasting time. The first lesson, pay yourself first. Arca, the main character in this book, and is the richest man in Babylon, said that a part of all you earn is yours to keep. Have you ever heard about the OFW caregiver fatigue? In Tagalog, we call this pasan ko ang daigdig. This is where we feel like we have the responsibility to take care of everyone in the family and that they are the priority in our life. And therefore, we send all our money back home to support them. And let's not forget those balikbayan boxes that we send every Christmas for them to enjoy or sometimes just to impress our neighbors. But this book teaches us to shift our mindset by prioritizing ourselves, by keeping even a small part of our earnings. And we can start this by paying ourselves, say, 5% of our income, and then gradually increase it to 10% or even 20%, depending on our financial goal. And learning from this book, what I do is every payday, I set up an automatic transfer of a certain amount to my savings and investment account. It's a direct debit, so it's so much easier that I don't have to think about it every month. But also, it gives me that safety net when life happens. You don't know when you're gonna lose your job or when an emergency calls for it. I have something to depend on. The second lesson in this book is live within your means. So after many years of working as an OFW, we become better at our jobs. Our skills become more valuable and therefore our income grows. Either we find a better job or we get paid more at what we do. But as our income increases, there's always the desire to spend more. But the ancient wisdom teaches us to prioritize our needs over our wants. The lesson says that what each of us calls our necessary expenses will always grow to equal our incomes unless we protest to the contrary. So for me, this ties back to the first lesson. Say, if I have a financial goal in mind, say I will invest 10% of my income, and because it automatically goes out of my account, it forces me to avoid unnecessary reckless spending. The third lesson is to live wisely and not depriving yourself. Life is rich with many pleasures for men to enjoy. Each has its place. I'm glad that wealth has not made me forget to enjoy life. So we all have the desire and purpose to go out of the country, work abroad, earn money, and support our family back home, give them a better future. But enjoyment is one of my favorite lessons in this book, as it teaches us that wealth should be used to improve the way we live our life, and that we should budget wisely for enjoyment. And it doesn't have to be expensive travels or expensive things that makes us feel like we deserve it. Enjoyment can be joining a community or a church. And more importantly, for an OFW like us, it's being able to adopt the culture of the country we're in. so that we can fully immerse ourselves with the experience and the culture and truly live in the moment. The fourth lesson is make money work for you. Gold labors diligently and multiplies for the wise owner. So in the West, we have this mindset called keeping up with the Joneses. And for us Filipinos, I think the equivalent is the pabonggahan culture. So we tend to compare ourselves with our friends. We want to be more bongga with our neighbors. And sometimes we compare our life to that curated life or that unattainable life of celebrities. But ancient wisdom teaches us that to be successful, we don't have to compare ourselves with our neighbors. Successful OFWs, they focus on their financial goal. They focus on their retirement income, the business that they always wanted to build, or the property investment they've been saving for years so that one day, money will work for them and not the other way around. Now, the fifth lesson, increase thy ability to earn. The more of wisdom we know, the more we may earn. Do you know the biggest expense we pay in our lifetime? It's not buying a house, or the taxes that we pay to the government, or the tuition fees in private schools. The biggest expense that we pay is the cost of not knowing. You see, if you want to earn 50,000 and your salary is now 30,000, the difference of 20,000 is the cost of not knowing how to earn that extra 20,000. The cost of me not having a passive investment income is not knowing how to invest. But unlike Rebecca, she was an OFW in Singapore but went on to study accounting in Singapore Institute of Management and now a CEO of her own recruitment company. Or Myrna, who learned how to use computer from her alaga and now owns a BPO company in the Philippines. The lesson in this book is self-development. Learning the fundamental rules of money to earn more money, getting that education, or learning a new skill that pays more money. Now, the sixth lesson is to take action and avoid procrastination. Men of action are favored by the goddess of luck. Do you feel that sometimes we see people and we think they are just lucky? They always get what they want, or they seem to have their life in order. But this book teaches us that opportunities come to everyone. It's about grabbing that opportunity and taking action. Going back to Arkad's story, when he learned about wealth building, he didn't wait for the perfect time to save money. He immediately committed to set aside 10% of his income, which prepared him for the future, making him lucky when the opportunities came to him. Like successful OFWs, they didn't wait for the stars to align for them. Rather, they are aware and they know that luck is a combination of preparation and opportunity. Now let's move on to the seventh lesson, invest wisely. Gold clings to the protection of the cautious owner who invests it under the advice of men wise in its handling. In Arkad's story, he made a mistake by entrusting his money to a brickmaker to buy jewels. The brickmaker, who didn't know anything about jewelry, ended up purchasing worthless glass instead of real jewelry. So they lost their money. The lesson in this book is to avoid risky investments. Remember those pyramiding scams and get-rich-quick schemes? It teaches us to seek advice from experts before making any investment decisions. If you want to start a business, learn more about the business or from the people who have already succeeded in that line of business. Like Dina, who is a medical technology graduate but went to London and worked as a helper for a Jewish family. In her downtime, she took short courses on skincare. Now back in the Philippines, where she set up her own skincare center and now owner of skincare line Dermablend. And the last but equally an important lesson is successful OFWs build a reliable source of income for the future. The book talks about the importance of saving for retirement, but this also reminds me of the $1,000,000 racehorse theory. And the theory goes, if you own a horse that makes you $1,000,000 each year, how would you treat it? What would you feed it? Would you change the way you look after it? The lesson in this book is that you are the $1,000,000 racehorse that you need to bet on. It teaches us about the importance of self-care, Because that reliable source of income is you. You're gonna build that. You see, you lose your house, you can build a new one. Lose your job, get another job. But you lose your health, you lose everything. Self-care is the bedrock of financial success. To conclude, these lessons teaches us the importance of discipline in saving and spending money. Learning how to invest in protecting our money by avoiding risky investments. Continuous learning to increase our income, taking action to seize financial opportunities, and not forgetting to enjoy our hard-earned money. I hope you learned from these timeless lessons as much as I did. And if you like more reviews like this, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss new videos coming up. Thank you.